Starting off with our loadouts, so we have my personal loadout, which I call Scout. Coming from a CS background, Scout reminds me of a Scout instead of an AWP, like a real sniper. Much lighter sniper, you can jump around, hit shots, not as strong, hence why it is the Kar 98. My car build is the monolithic suppressor, 27.6 custom barrel, tac laser for the ADS, sniper scope. I do not use the variable, don't know how to use it, and the precision comb. I used to use the sport comb for the faster ADS, but switching to this, I do feel a huge aim stability. Not really bothered by the aim walking movement speed, really that big of an issue. I know some people go with a stipple grip, but if you do go with a sport comb, it is a faster ADS, so I would highly recommend it. Obviously I've got the obsidian skin. It was a long grind, worth it. My medallion that I put on every sniper, and the marksman shots, what's it called, the remarkable marksman sticker, and this is just lethal tender. Yeah, that's this build. It will be in all my Kar 98 builds except for one. You'll see it later on. The Mac 10, I've got a few different builds for the Mac 10. Always agency suppressor on all of them. Sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, effective damage range, all very important to have in Warzone. It does hurt your ADS, but that's not that big of a deal. So you either go with the Ranger or you go with the reinforced heavy. If you're pairing with a sniper, I would go with the reinforced heavy because you need that little bit of extra range. So the damage range, effective damage range, is what you want. So the bullets do more damage at a further range, and then velocity just gives you a huge amount of range. I would go with Ranger if it's just being used as an SMG. Close quarters because you have a rifle, mainly an AMAX. But yeah, I wouldn't go with the task force barrel because they really nerfed it hard. They fucked it with the vertical and horizontal recoil. Speed grip, I have speed grip in almost all of them. I would go with the field agent for a bit more recoil control, both horizontal and vertical, but the speed grip is very good for movement speed, and I do highly advise it. Doesn't hurt you that much, but it is good. Now with the sights, you have a few choices. Obviously I like to hip fire a lot, so that immediately puts me down to 3 choices: the SOF target designator, the SWAT 5 milliwatt, and the Ember sighting point. I've tried them all and I do like them all. I think I do like the Ember sighting point the most, just because the effective damage range and the hip fire, and which also is found there, but this one gives you a flashlight and a laser, so if an enemy's in front of you, it really fucks with them. They just see random lights coming at them, and it gives you a slight edge. I would recommend it. I went for the target designator just because this one hurts your sprint to fire time and your ADS even more, whereas this one does not. So that was my reasoning for this one, although I would recommend this one. The 5 milliwatt laser, it is what it is. It's very good. I don't like the red laser. I feel like it's slightly harder to see. So I do like the old Modern Warfare green lasers for the 5 milliwatts. But this one does hurt your ADS as well. What do we got? Drum. I've chosen the drum over the mag because the drum, same ammo capacity. This one gives you slight thing, but it gives you much more ADS issue. So if you were to go with this and then switch to that, you'd get slightly better ADS time. Then you can see that I've named my loadouts after streamers, ones that have given me inspiration, ones that I copy their loadouts, ones that I use their style. So if I'm going for a metaphor style, which is a Kar 98 FFAR secondary, it would be the same, my typical Kar 98 like I showed. There are 2 builds for the FFAR. Agency suppressor, must, obviously, with everything that we talked about before. It gives you everything. If you're using it as a secondary with a sniper, you don't need it for very far range. Takedown's fine. You need a strafe speed because you need to get in and out. Close combat, bullet velocity, very good. Rapid fire, it just shoots like crazy, literally like a submachine gun. Whoops. Speed grip over field agent, like I said, close fights, that's what you really want. You want the sprinting move speed as well, and this is mainly just for close fights as opposed to an SMG. 50 round fast mag. It is what it is. Now, Raider stock. The reason I went for the Raider stock is the ADS firing move speed, the sprint to fire time for those very, very close combats. I used to go with the CQB. I know some people go with the combat, but I feel like the Raider gives me a little bit more. You can see in the mobility, it does give you quite a little bit more. Oh, and Semtex and tactical, not for heartbeat, not for all of them. My Joe build, and similar to Joe, the AMAX is my favorite gun in the game. I've called it the Galil. It reminds me of Counter-Strike, obviously. Monolithic suppressor, a must on any Modern Warfare gun. Zodiac barrel, it's got the longest range, longest bullet velocity, damage range, it's got it all. I prefer the VOK 3.0 optic. On this gun, I don't believe it's necessary to go with the hollow sight with the blue dot. Not needed on AMAX. It's actually the AMAX is very punchy. You have to be able to really control it. The Commando foregrip, I would also recommend the Ranger foregrip for new people trying to use this gun. It's definitely better in the recoil control. You can see you go with the Ranger, you do get a slight increase, but the ADS time is slightly slower. You do feel it. So that's my reasoning for the Commando. 45 round mags, obviously. I've never used these. I don't really intend to. I can see the damage and everything is good, but 10 rounds, it's just not worth it. Especially if you're playing duos, trios, or quads. Maybe solos, you might be able to get away with it, although I've never seen how powerful it is. So I'm assuming it's like the Val, AS Val, but yeah, not for me. Mac 10, same thing. With the Joe build, I go with stun Semtex. Then we have the Iron build. Iron, if you don't know, is a streamer who literally just excels in getting wins. He doesn't go for high kills. He just goes for the wins. He does the recons. He knows where the final circle is. He holds it. He keeps people out. I think he's got about 3,000 wins at this point, time of this video. So with him, I've done the same AMAX along with my trusty Kar 98. He does use claymores and stuns for people coming close. Claymores obviously to hold the... Now with Huskers, it's the FFAR AMAX build, FFAR Mac 10, sorry, and with the FFAR, different than before I went with the takedown because I needed for more close range, and you can see the range is less, the damage is less, but going for the reinforced heavy, you get that long distance fights. And along with that, also you go with the field agent grip for that extra control at range. This is pretty much the same as well. With Huskers, if I'm going with this build, I'm going very aggressive, so I like to take a throwing knife to finish my downs, preserve my ammo, and keep going from one fight to the next. EOD overkill amped in all of mine, except for the bottom three. Aiden, this one I'm trying to get used to the AUG. I'm not a fan of burst, but this is the Aiden build that I call. Agency suppressor, strike team obviously for the fire rate. Look how insane that is. The axial arms 3x. I know some people say to go with the Susat multi-zoom. I tried it. It does have less recoil, but I feel like the scope is so much smaller. You're not seeing everything around you. And I just don't like variable zooms in general. Field agent foregrip, obviously, with all the guns, pretty much. 45 round mag. If you go with a 54, the ADS is hurt, and along with the movement speed. You could go with the jungle, you could go with the fast, but yeah, that's just such a hurt to ADS. With the AUG build, obviously you want the FFAR to be for close range, so similar to the Metaphor build, I have the takedown on the FFAR, and as you can see, instead of using that, I have a SOF target designator for hip firing, because I'm going to try and use the AUG as much as possible. It is overpowered and broken at this point in time. With this one I go with the C4 just to mix it up really, and the heartbeat sensor. Now this line is when I'm trying out weird builds, trying to do loadout challenges like I'm doing right now. I've received the loadout challenge for the AK-47, So I've paired that up. I'll show you what the AK-47 looks like. I've gone with the GRU suppressor. I believe the Resonant compensator might be better, or the KGB eliminator. I remember one of them was meant to be really good, but the GRU suppressor, just, I'm a fan of using suppressors, really. Barrel, you could go with the highest barrel, but the kick on that is pretty significant. So I would recommend going for the VDV reinforced. I've been trying different optics for this. I've gone with Cobra Red Dot. I've gone with the Vision Tech. The Microflex I do like. It's one of the only ones I like. There was also one more. The Diamond. I also didn't mind the Diamond. And obviously the Spetsnaz grip with the Fast Mag. Restock build. If I take, for example, Iron's Loadout, then I go for the restock build to continue getting the Claymores. That's the reason for that. This also used to be my old Metaphor build. Metaphor famously got the M19 pistols with a Kimbo, which was just deadly. Like, deadly. Which reminds me, I just changed this. I forgot to change it back. Yeah. So that is the monolithic. It's not the attack laser, it's the 5 milliwatts light action trigger and stipple grip. Stipple grip for the sprint to fire speed, so while you're running is just insane. With the light trigger, the fire rate is so high. You don't need to ADS with this, and yeah, monolithic. If I come back from Gulag 5th circle, I need a gun fully loaded. This is my go-to. I go with the same trusty Kar 98 without the tac laser. I put on fully loaded. I have this gun the same, but it's just in gold, so I remember that this one doesn't have the tac laser. It's just a mental thing that I do. Along with what used to be my favorite SMG, the MP7 monolithic FSS Recon. I usually have the tac laser, but I swapped it out for fully loaded, obviously, for this build, and probably go with the 50 rounds just to be safe. And lastly, the Gulag build. This is the only build that I have Ghost. So whenever I just want to get my second loadout with Ghost, I'll get the Growl build, which I call the Growl. Instead of the tac laser, it's got the fully loaded, so I always have full AR going into my second loadout, and just any pistol really. I like the Deagle, Counter-Strike player. Yeah, and with fully loaded. This is just for shits and giggles really. And yeah, EOD Ghost amped. Obviously this one's overkill as well. Restock on that one, and that is the build. Thanks guys.